Hello everyone. In today's lecture we shall consider the introduction to the pharmacology, as to what pharmacology is, what it deals with, what are the different aspects of pharmacology. Now, to start with the introduction, that is what pharmacology is. Okay, so basically pharmacology, this is a science of the drug. Okay, so here all the details about the drugs are studied in this particular subject. Now, how this particular word was evolved? Now, basically this word was derived from two Greek words, okay, that is pharmakon and logos. Okay, so pharmakon means a drug and logos means discourse in, that means a detailed study of something. Okay, so basically here the drug is studied in detail. Okay, so in broad sense you can consider that this particular subject, pharmacology, it deals with interactions of the exogenously administered chemical molecules with the living system, or any single chemical substance which can produce a biological response, that is a drug. Okay, so here not only what particular substance is being used as drug, how and what the effects that particular drugs are producing in the living system. So everything about these particular effects are studied. Not only what effects are seen, but how those effects are produced. Okay, as to at what level these particular drugs are interacting with what which biomolecule this particular drug is interacting with. As a result of this interaction, what are the cascade, or what are the changes which are taking place, what are the different steps which are taking place, and as a result of this what kind of effects are being seen in a particular individual. This is studied in this particular subject. Okay, so basically here this particular subject, it encompasses all the aspects of knowledge about the drug. Okay, uh, and here mainly it focuses on the effective and safe use of these particular drugs. Okay, any particular substance you cannot just take and you can't administer it to the human beings. You need to know about that particular substance, know more about that particular substance, as to what is happening to that particular substance when it is in the body, how your body is handling that particular substance, and what that substance is doing to your body. Everything needs to be studied, and the utmost requirement is that particular substance which you are administering in the human beings, it should be safe. Okay, and no doubt it should be safe, but it should be effective also. Like any particular drug, mostly it is used, not always, but mostly it is used for the treatment of a particular condition. So it should be safe. First of all, that drug should not produce any untoward effects, and it should also be effective. It should effectively control that particular situation for which it is being used. Okay, now in olden days, okay, for thousands of years, okay, earlier the crude natural products were used as drug. Okay, mostly the drugs were derived from the natural source, mostly the plant source. So maybe some leaves were used, some stem was used, or in certain cases entire herb was used. So very little knowledge was available about that particular substance which is acting as a drug. Okay, so it was crude in nature, about which no one knew much precisely about what it contains, what kind of effect it particularly produces in the human body. But then later on, this particular subject, pharmacology, as an experimental science, this was first looked into by the scientist Rudolf Bachem, who in 1847 he founded the first institute of pharmacology in the country Germany. And later on in 19th century, Oswald Schmitzberg, who is known as the father of pharmacology. Along with his co-workers, he then proposed so many fundamental concepts in the pharmacology. So later on, pharmacology developed as a science, okay, to know about most of the drugs which are or which were earlier used without knowing much about them. But these scientists, they contributed much of the basic concepts of pharmacology, which uncovered so many aspects about a particular drug, as to what and how the effects were being produced by that particular drug. And since then, the drugs have been purified, chemically characterized, yeah, and their potency, high potency drugs, selective new drugs were developed later on. Even the mechanism of action, including what are their molecular targets in the body, that was also studied and it was recorded. Okay, so as such, if you consider this pharmacology, basically it comprises of the two divisions, that is pharmacodynamics and pharmacokinetics. Okay, so here in the subject pharmacology, you study everything about the drug, as to what the drug is doing to your body and what body is doing to that particular drug. These are the two aspects of pharmacology, two main aspects of pharmacology. Now let us consider what pharmacodynamics is. Now this word was derived from Greek word dynamic. Dynamic means power. Okay, now pharmacodynamics exactly means what the drug does to the body. Okay, so once the drug is in your body, what actions it is showing, what effects it is showing, how it is producing, all that. So that is considered under pharmacodynamics. So this includes the physiological and biochemical effects of the drugs and their mechanism of action at the maybe organ system or subcellular level or macromolecular level. Okay, so here you study what exactly the drug is doing to your body, what changes are taking place, where it is interacting, and because of which what changes are taking place, and what are the effects which are produced as a result of all these changes which a drug is producing in your body. Okay, now let us take an example of adrenaline. Okay, now adrenaline actually it is a neurotransmitter secreted at the sympathetic system. So let us see how exactly adrenaline is showing its effect. Now basically adrenaline it produces cardiac stimulation, it stimulates the heart, it induces hepatic glycogenolysis. Glycogen is broken down to release the glucose, and as a result of this it produces hyperglycemia, that is increase in the blood glucose level. So these are the effects, some of the effects produced by adrenaline. Okay, but just knowing the effects of a particular drug is not enough. Okay, here in pharmacodynamics we study exactly what are the changes which are instituted, because of which these changes are being produced. Okay, so first of all we will see step by step what adrenaline is doing. Okay, so once it is released, this adrenaline, it interacts with the certain receptors. Okay, any particular drug will mostly interact with a particular type of receptor. Okay, so here adrenaline, it is interacting with specific type of adrenoceptors, alpha or beta adrenergic receptors are present, so it will interact with it. As a result of this, now adrenergic receptors, these are G protein coupled receptor. Okay, we will study about the receptors also in detail as to what are the different transducer mechanisms. So this is one of the transducer mechanism. So how this signal is converted into these particular effects. So adrenaline will interact with the receptors. As a result of this, the G protein mediators, so certain G proteins are present which will carry that signal further. So this G proteins, these will stimulate a cellular membrane enzyme. Okay, that is adenylyl cyclase. This is the enzyme which is present in the cell membrane. So this enzyme is stimulated. As a result of stimulation of these adenylyl cyclase, it will result in intracellular increase in the CAMP concentration. Okay, and in these particular areas. So as a result of this increase in the CAMP, all these effects will be produced in the respective type of cells. So this is how the adrenaline is producing the effect. Okay, so here we are studying what effects are produced and what is the basic mechanisms by which these effects are being produced by that particular drug in the pharmacodynamics. Okay, now next aspect of pharmacology is pharmacokinetics. Now this was derived from the Greek word kinesis, means movement. Okay, so here basically what the body does to the drug, okay, or how your body is handling that particular drug, that is being studied. Okay, so as I've told you earlier, there are two basic concepts: what the drug is doing to your body and what your body in turn is doing to your drug. Okay, both will not keep quiet. Some or the other changes will take place when the drug is administered in the body. Okay, so here in pharmacokinetics we study what the body does to the drug, or how it is handling, or how the drug is moving through your body. So once it enters your body, it will make certain movement, it will move from one place to another place, and ultimately it will be removed out of the body. Okay, so what are those different movements and what are those changes which are taking place as that drug is moving in, through and out of the body? That is studied under pharmacokinetics. Okay, so here you are studying the movement of the drug in and alteration of the drug and movement of the drug out of the body. Okay, so these include various processes like absorption. Okay, so these are the processes which may take place, like absorption, that is the entry of your drug; distribution, so as the name implies, it will get distributed throughout your body. Then binding or localization or storage may take place. Plasma protein binding may take place, tissue binding may take place, localization in a particular area may take place. Further, the drug may get biotransformed, or metabolism may take place. Biotransformation is also known as metabolism. So it may get metabolized, that is some chemical alteration of that drug may take place, may or may not take place. Okay, so this is not a compulsory step. Then after which, after some time, okay, peculiar to that particular drug, ultimately the drug will be removed out of the body. That is known as the excretion of the drug. Okay, so all these movements of the drug in, through and out of the body are studied in pharmacokinetics. So let us take an example of paracetamol. So let us see what are the kinetics of paracetamol. So kinetics, basically it may be described in terms of all of these. Okay, and the parameters which are used in measuring all these particular aspects of pharmacokinetics. Okay, so when this paracetamol is administered to a particular person, okay, it is rapidly and completely absorbed orally. So when you are administering it by oral route, it will be rapidly and completely, almost completely absorbed, okay, and attain the peak plasma levels, that is the maximum blood levels are obtained at 30 to 60 minutes. So after administration 30 to 60 minutes, it will attain the highest plasma concentration. Apart from this, whatever has reached your systemic circulation, that is in your blood circulation, 25% of it will remain bound to the plasma proteins. There are plasma proteins, right? So certain drugs have the tendency to get bound to these proteins. So this paracetamol, whatever is absorbed, out of that 25% will get bound to the plasma protein. Okay, and coming to the distribution part, it is widely and almost uniformly distributed throughout the body, and volume of distribution is the parameter which measures the distribution of the drug. So VD is 1 liters per kg. Coming to the metabolism part of this particular drug, paracetamol, it is extensively metabolized in the liver. So this is the metabolizing organ where metabolism exactly is taking place by the processes like glucuronide and sulfate conjugation. Now after metabolism takes place or biotransformation takes place, it gets converted. There is a chemical alteration, some reaction will take place and it gets converted into inactive metabolite. So this drug, when it reaches the systemic circulation, it will go to its site of action, it will show the action, after which it may get metabolites and it will get converted into inactive metabolites. Okay, so these don't show any kind of therapeutic effect in the body, and these metabolites are excreted in the urine. Okay, then one more parameter which can be studied under pharmacokinetics is the plasma half-life, T half-life, that is the time required to reduce the plasma concentration to half of its original value. Okay, so this T half-life for this drug paracetamol, when it is administered, it is 2 to 3 hours. So it takes 2 to 3 hours for its plasma concentration to reduce to half of its value. And the clearance, which determines the excretion kinetics. So clearance is 5 ml per kg per minute. So there are several processes which are taking place wherein the drug is moving from one place to another place. Okay, so how it is taking place and what are the different parameters. So these are expressed in terms of certain values. Okay, so all these will be expressed under pharmacokinetics. So these are the two main aspects of the subject pharmacology, that is pharmacodynamics, that is what the drug does to the body, and the pharmacokinetics, that is what body does to the drug. Now let us consider the definition of the drug. Now this word drug was derived from the French word drogue, that is a dry herb, because earlier in the olden days, usually the drugs which were consumed, these were obtained from the natural origin. It was in the form of a dry herb, okay, from the herbs. So this particular term was coined. Okay, now exactly drug, it means a single active chemical entity which is present in a medicine that is used for diagnosis, prevention, treatment or cure of a particular disease. Earlier it was thought that this is an ideal definition of a particular drug. Okay, so drug, substance which is used to either diagnose a particular condition as to what a person is suffering from, to prevent that particular condition, or to treat that particular disease. But if you consider this particular definition, it is a disease oriented definition. Like, it will not consider or it will not include the drugs which are used for improvement of the health or the contraceptives. Okay, so these are not included in this particular definition. So it's just a disease oriented definition. So something which is used to either diagnose, prevent or treat a particular disease. Okay, so this is not an ideal definition, we can say, or a comprehensive definition. So WHO in 1966 has given a more comprehensive definition which will cover all the aspects of the drug or all the uses of that particular drug. Okay, so definition of the drug according to WHO is: drug, it is any substance or product that is used or is intended to be used to modify or explore the physiological system or the pathological state for the benefit of the recipient. Okay, so here all the aspects are covered, not only the pathological states, but it is also considering the physiological alterations or modifications of the physiological systems also. Say certain drugs are used for improving the health, right? Just to boost your immunity. You just can't consider them as, treatment of a particular condition, right? In this pandemic situation, a lot of drugs have come up which boost the immunity of a particular person. Okay, so those are not used to treat a particular disease. Those are not taken by the patient just because a person is suffering from some disease, right? So all such drugs, okay, which are not only meant for some treatment of a disease, but to alter certain physiological aspects of the body, certain functions of the body. So these are also included in this definition. And ultimately what all these should do? These should benefit the recipient. The person who is consuming these should get some benefit from that particular drug. Okay, so this is the complete definition of the drug. Now there are certain other meanings also which can be derived from this particular word drug. So these also mean the addictive or abusive use of certain substances. and must have heard that certain people are drug addicts, right? They consume the drugs like cocaine, heroin, and all those, cannabis. So these are the certain substances which are consumed to derive the pleasurable effects. You can't categorize them into this particular definition. They are not benefiting, they are having some adverse effects in that particular person. Okay, so these are addictive or abusive substance, so they should not be consumed with these particular definition drug. So here you are taking something to alter the physiology or a pathological state for the benefit of the patient. Okay, so a drug, it should refer to a substance that has some therapeutic or diagnostic application. Some application should be there, or some benefit should be drawn from that particular substance. Okay, now there is one small concept known as pharmacotherapeutics. Now what is this pharmacotherapeutics? Now this, it is the application of the pharmacological information, okay, together with the knowledge of the disease for the prevention or mitigation or cure of this particular disease. Okay, so now you have the knowledge about the pharmacology of a particular drug, as to what and how it is producing the effect, what is happening to it when it enters the body. You know everything about the drug, so you have the pharmacological information of that particular drug. Okay, so application of this pharmacological information together with the knowledge of the disease. Okay, so you know about the drug and you also know about a particular disease, so you can use both these knowledges. Okay, that is the knowledge about the pharmacology of that particular drug and the knowledge about the disease. Then you can use certain drugs to treat that particular disease or to prevent or cure that particular disease, right? So this application is known as pharmacotherapeutics. Now what exactly is involved in this pharmacotherapeutics? So here there must be an appropriate selection of an appropriate drug. Okay, you need to, like, there are number of drugs which are available in the market, right? But you need to identify what the person is suffering from first. Okay, proper diagnosis is very important. So for that matter, you should have the proper knowledge about that disease. Okay, following that, you need to select an appropriate drug which is effective against that particular condition. Now after selecting a particular drug, you need to select the dosage, as to in what dosage form it is supposed to be given, in what amount it is supposed to be given, and for what duration it is supposed to be given in that particular person. Okay, so all these aspects are included under pharmacotherapeutics. Then next part is the clinical pharmacology. So clinical pharmacology meaning the scientific study of the drug in man or in the human beings. Okay. Now supposing if you discover a new drug, okay, about which you do not know much, but you just can't administer that particular drug directly to the patient, saying that okay, this drug is effective against diabetes, I will directly give it to the diabetic patients. So you can't do that. Okay, so there has to be a proper study about that drug in the human beings, for you to have the evidence about the effectiveness of that particular drug, about the safety of that particular drug. That is very important. So you should know about that drug first, how that drug behaves when it is administered to the human beings. Okay, so these particular studies, the clinical study of that particular drug in the human beings, so these include the pharmacokinetic and pharmacodynamic investigation. So you need to study about the pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamics of that particular drug in both the healthy volunteers as well as in the patients first. So on the small scale, you need to study the effects of that drug, of what or how that drug is handled by the body. All needs to be studied. You need to evaluate the efficacy and safety of that particular drug, whether it is really effective against that condition. If it is an anti-diabetic drug, whether it is really helpful in reducing the blood glucose level. Okay, or what is the safety, whether it is producing any adverse effects. So all these needs to be studied, and you need to have a proper record of it. Okay, so here what is the aim of clinical pharmacology? It is to generate the data for the optimum use of that particular drug. Okay, so you have an evidence based medicine. Okay, that is, you have a proof of that particular drug is safe, that particular drug is effective against this particular condition, and how exactly it behaves, what changes it is instituting in that particular individual, or what that particular individual's body is doing with that particular drug, how it is handled. So everything is studied in the human beings first, and then that particular drug is released into the market on the larger scale. Okay, the next concept is chemotherapy. Okay, now what is the meaning of chemotherapy? Chemotherapy, it is the treatment of systemic infection or malignancy. Okay, if there is any infection, systemic infection, infections are caused by foreign microorganisms. Okay, if some microorganisms has entered, harbored into your body, and it has started growing and it has produced systemic infection or malignancy, meaning your own body cells have started growing uncontrollably, cancerous growth is taking place. Okay, though they are your own cells, they are harmful to you, right? Malignancy. Okay, so this is the treatment of systemic infection or malignancy with certain drugs, with specific drugs that have selective toxicity for the infective or infecting organism which is causing this systemic infection, or the malignant cell which is responsible for this malignancy. But what is important? This is very important. With no or minimal effect on the host cell, that is your own cell. If you are suffering from systemic infection, you should treat that systemic infection with such drugs that will selectively kill or inhibit the growth of that microorganism which is responsible for systemic infection, and that should not affect your own body cells. Or if that treatment is supposed to be against the malignancy, that is against the cancer, it should selectively kill the cancer cells without affecting the normal cells of the body. Okay, so based on this, you can consider that the drugs can be basically divided into two types of substances. Okay, two types of agents: pharmacodynamic agents and chemotherapeutic agents. Okay, so pharmacodynamic agents are those which are designed to have pharmacodynamic effects in the recipient. So they will interact and alter certain physiological states or the pathological states in the recipient who is taking that particular medication or drug. And chemotherapeutic agent is that drug which is designed to inhibit or kill the invading parasite or malignant cell which have no or minimal pharmacodynamic effect in the recipient. Okay, so these are the two categories into which you can divide your drugs into. Okay. Now, next concept is, what is a pharmacy? Okay, so pharmacy, you all must be studying it right from the beginning in the pharmaceutics also. So pharmacy, it is the art and science of compounding and dispensing the drug or preparing suitable dosage forms for administration of drug to the man or animals. So here different aspects are included, such as collection, identification, purification, isolation, synthesis, standardization, quality control of these medicinal substances which are used as a drug. So here right from the collection to the dispensing of that particular drug to the patient, everything is included, and the large scale manufacture of the drug is known as pharmaceutics. The next concept is toxicology. Okay, now what toxicology exactly means is, it is the study of the poisonous effects of the drugs. Okay, certain drugs may have toxic effects or the unwanted effects. So drug is basically used to alter the physiology or to alter the pathological states. Okay, but there are certain effects of the drugs which may be unwanted in nature, or if you consume that same drug in very large amounts, so that may produce some adverse effects or toxic effects. So toxicology, basically it is the study, it is a branch which studies the poisonous effects of the drugs and other chemicals, not only the drug but generally all the other chemicals, maybe ones which are used in household or environmental pollutants, industrial, agricultural substances, or homicidal, meaning purposely giving somebody some particular chemical or drug in large amounts in order to say cause some harm to that particular person. Okay, so you need to study all these toxic effects of that particular drug or other substances. Now why do you need to study these poisonous effects? That's because you should have the knowledge about the toxic effects in case if somebody consumes it accidentally or purposefully, or if toxicity takes place unknowingly. So you should be able to detect that particular, identify what toxicity has taken place, or prevent that particular toxicological effects which are likely to happen, or if at all poisoning has taken place, you can treat that poisoning. So in toxicology, you study the poisonous effects, what are the symptoms, and how to treat these particular toxic effects. Okay, even the drugs may also have toxic effects. Like if you consume more number of doses, if one tablet is supposed to be consumed in a day, and if you consume at a time, if you consume 10 or 15 tablets at a time, what will happen? Your body will get overloaded with your drug, right? So a lot of drug will enter into your systemic circulation. So obviously it will start producing deleterious effects. So you need to study what are these effects. Okay, so this toxicology also includes the study of adverse effects of the drugs. Okay, since same drug, it can act as a therapeutic substance also, and it can also act as a poison if it is taken in the large amounts. Okay, then next concept is prescription and non-prescription drugs. Now there are certain rules which have been laid down, okay, as to how the drug can be dispensed. Now there are certain drugs which can be dispensed only against a prescription which is issued to a particular patient by a registered medical practitioner. Okay, so such type of drugs which can be obtained from a pharmacy only against a prescription by a registered medical practitioner, such type of drugs are known as prescription drugs. And in India, these have been placed in Schedule H of Drugs and Cosmetics Rule 1945. Okay, and from time to time, as and when required, these are amended. Okay, so these are the prescription drugs obtained only if you have a prescription. Okay, so drugs which are placed under this Schedule H, if you go and ask for that particular drug in a pharmacy, first thing your pharmacist will ask is for a prescription of a registered medical practitioner. Even if that prescription, if you take that prescription second time to that particular pharmacist, he will not give it to you. He will ask for a fresh prescription from the registered medical practitioner. So such type of drugs are known as prescription drugs. Then apart from this, there are certain drugs which are easily available in the pharmacy. Okay, even if you do not have a prescription, still you can procure them from a pharmacy. So drugs like simple analgesics or laxatives or vitamins or the iron containing compounds. So these are relatively harmless and these can be procured without a prescription. Even if you do not have a prescription, you can purchase them. So such type of drugs are known as non-prescription drugs, or these are also known as over-the-counter drugs, OTC medications. Then the next concept is the drug nomenclature. Okay, as to how the drugs are named. Now there are different types of names a particular drug can have. Okay, so basically the names of the drugs are divided into three categories. Now first type of name is the chemical name. Now as a name implies, chemical name means it will describe the drug chemically. So this name, it will indicate the chemical structure of that particular drug. Say for example, this particular name 1-isopropyl amino 3,1-nephthyloxypropane-2-ol. Now this is a chemical name of propranolol. Okay. Now supposing if a doctor wants to prescribe this particular drug, is it possible to write this particular name in the prescription? It will be quite cumbersome, right? and is not suitable for use in the prescriptions, right? So rather these chemical names are not used in prescribings. Okay, so that name depends upon the chemical structure of that particular substance. The next type of name is the non-proprietary name. Okay, now this particular non-proprietary name, it is a common name which is accepted by certain authorities, like say for example the United States adopted name. This is coined by this particular council, USAN council. Similarly, there is a British approved name of a particular drug. Okay, so now usually these non-proprietary names, these are kept uniform, to identify that particular drug throughout the world by some common name. So WHO, all of the member countries of WHO, they come to one particular decision and they propose a particular name to a particular drug. Okay, that is a recommended international non-proprietary name. So in this case it is the propranolol. This is a non-proprietary name given to a particular drug, propranolol. Okay, so it is quite easy to use this particular name, right, in prescribing. Okay, now until this particular drug is included in the pharmacopoeia, that non-proprietary name, it can be called as a approved name. Once this particular drug appears in a certain official publications of particular countries, then it becomes an official name. Okay, now there is one more type of name known as a generic name. Now generally it is used in place of non-proprietary name, but it is not so. Generic name is generally referred to the chemical or the pharmacological class of that particular drug, like say TCAs, phenothiazines, benzodiazepines and so on. Okay. Then the next type of name a drug can have is the proprietary name or a brand name. Now this particular name is assigned to that particular drug by the manufacturer, and this proprietary name or brand name, it is the property or the trademark of that particular company or that particular manufacturer. So anyone just cannot use that same name. Okay, usually now there are several tablets, say for example paracetamol or any drug. If you consider, a number of companies may be producing the same medication, same composition, okay, but they are manufacturing it at their particular end, right? So that particular product which they develop, they can give a particular name to their product, and that product name is their property. No one can copy that particular name. So one particular drug may have multiple proprietary names, like say for example atenolol is a drug. Okay, it can be manufactured by a different manufacturer and they can give their own name. So this particular atenolol tablet, it is available in several forms like Altol, Atcardil, Aten, Lonol or Tenolol. These are the various proprietary names of the same drug. Their contents also will be same, but the names are different. So patient can use any one of them. Okay, it's not that they have to use Altol or they have to use Aten. It's not like that. So it can be used interchangeably. They contain the same, only thing is the manufacturers are different, so that name becomes their particular property. That brand name becomes their particular property. So these brand names, now while selecting a particular brand name to your product, it should be quite catchy, short, easy to remember, or maybe sometimes it will be suggestive, like for what it is used. Say for example Lopressor. This is a drug which can reduce the blood pressure, so it's named like that. Okay, now even these brand names can differ in different countries. Say for example Timolol maleate eye drops. So these are marketed as Timopic in USA, but in India it is used as Glucomol. It is available as Glucomol. So different countries may have different brand names of the same drug. Even the same manufacturer may also market the same drug under different brand names in different countries. Manufacturer is same, but it is being marketed in different countries with different names. Okay. In addition to this, even combined formulations. Okay, that is the drug or the formulation which may have more than one drug. So they may also have their own multiple brand names, okay, depending upon the formulations and the combinations which are being used over here. Okay, so generally this nomenclature of the drugs, like because of the availability of so many drugs from the manufacturer, so many brand names, they it may create confusion sort of. So you should be uh, you know uh, you should be careful while selecting a particular drug. Now if a doctor has written a prescription, he has written a particular name. So if the drug is if that same brand is not available, the pharmacist may offer another particular formulation with the same component. So it's your responsibility to check whether it is same or no. Okay, sometimes there may be minor differences, so you should be very careful if you are using the alternative medications. So read them appropriately, confirm what are the contents, and then buy the alternative medications if at all the situation is like. It's not that you cannot use other brand. If the doctor has written a particular name, it's not necessary that you have to use that particular brand. Okay, if it is not available, you can go for alternatives, but you should be very careful while taking that particular alternatives. Okay, then there is one more concept called as essential medicines or essential drug concept. Okay, now this essential drugs, WHO has defined essential medicines or essential drugs as those that satisfy the priority healthcare needs of the population. That is these drugs, okay, which act as essential medicines or essential drugs. So these are selected in public health relevance with proper evidence on the efficacy or safety, even comparative cost effectiveness, that is it should be cheaper. Okay, so these are the medicines. Essential medicines are the ones which are supposed to be available within the context of the functioning healthcare systems in that particular locality at all the time. They should be available all the time. Whenever you go to that particular healthcare system, it should be available in adequate amounts, in appropriate dosage forms. There are different dosage forms. One particular drug may be available in different dosage forms. So you should be, that drug should be available in the appropriate dosage form with assured quality and adequate information about that particular drug at a price at which the individual and the community can afford. So there is a list of drugs which is provided by WHO, which enlists all these essential medications which can satisfy most of the priority healthcare needs of that particular population. So WHO has published the first model list of essential drugs with their dosage forms and strengths in 1977, and in individual country which is a part of WHO, they can alter these lists according to their local needs, because certain countries, now all the disease situations may not be same, right, in all the countries. Like in certain countries maybe diabetes is more prevalent, in some other country maybe hypertension is more prevalent. Okay, in certain countries maybe certain epidemic disease is more prevalent. So according to the basic healthcare needs, a country needs to select its own list of essential drugs. So for that matter, our country India also has a national list of essential medicines. So this was produced in 1996. Okay, and it was revised in 2015. Whereas in case of WHO, the recent one is the 21st list, that model list of essential medicines. Whereas in our country, it is uh, the revised one is published in 2015. Okay, and this particular list includes 348 medicines. Okay, so all this essential medicines, it should be available in that particular healthcare system, and it should improve the availability of the medication. Even it should be cost saving, and it should promote the rational use of that particular drug. Okay. Then one more concept called orphan drugs is also included over here. So now orphan drugs are the drugs or the biological products which are meant for diagnosis, treatment, prevention of some rare disease or condition, or maybe a more common disease. It may be a more common disease, but for which expected cost may not be developed from the market. Okay, so such kind of drugs, because of which because the sales are not very good, so such kind of drugs are called as orphan drugs. So some examples are listed over here: formapizole, rifabutin, yeah, then miltefosine, then sodium nitrite, somatropin, then digoxin, immune fab. So these are some of the examples of the orphan drugs. Now these drugs may be life saving for certain patients, but these are commercially difficult to obtain. So certain countries they offer certain tax benefits or certain other incentives to the pharmaceutical companies, so that they should produce these or manufacture these particular drugs. Okay. So the important questions pertaining to this part are the various definitions which we have covered. So these may be asked in the examinations. Okay. Thank you.